What is happening, budget builders, and welcome back to the channel. Here we are on our first week working from home, and I am so excited to be able to produce, create, and share a lot more content with all of y'all. Thank y'all so much for the love and support that we've had so far. It's the reason we're able to do this, and we have the ability to be able to now do this. And it's really fun and really exciting, and I hope you guys are excited for what's in store. Don't forget, we're so close to 50K. At 50K, we're gonna have a big giveaway. We're gonna be giving away a $500 gift card to Summit Racing to show our appreciation for all the support that you guys have given to us. And we're gonna be able to hopefully soon continue to do stuff like this and show our appreciation as we build this channel together. So through the power of social media, I've been searching around, was able to meet and talk to a gentleman named Todd and his father JR that had this really cool 64 Comet 260 V8 car. I don't know if y'all remember, I had a little Falcon back in the day. Really love these little cars. This is the classier, longer wheelbase version of that little car, and it's got a V8, so it's gonna have a little bit of a punch and be really fun. We're running out to meet with them, hear their stories, drag it out of the shed that's been sitting since like 1989, get it home, and try to get this thing to run. Hope you guys are ready for this. Bye. You can. Everybody likes it. Probably want to hook to this side. I don't know what it is. Need to get this thing.
Drive shack's out there.
Okay.
It's in the trunk.
Go ahead and do a little more. I got gloves if you want the gloves on. Okay. Let's see what we got.
Otherwise, we'll stay out your way.
You're good. Alright, straighten it up. Go ahead. Okay. Yeah, she's not rolling. This window would roll down. Woo. You're good. Thank you, though. We're just gonna take it easy.
I didn't want to roll off your trailer.
All right. We do appreciate it. We'll air shake.
Buddy, I appreciate it.
Nice to meet y'all.
It was really great to meet you, man. Both of y'all, and we really do appreciate
Yeah,
the car and everything.
it was really nice to meet you. I hope you get a little.
Yeah.
Oh, all right, y'all. So we're back home. We've got the Comet unloaded. Looking through everything. The car's been sitting since about '89. It's been off the road since then. We can't wait to get it back going. It's a 1964. No, don't. Comet Caliente two-door hardtop with the 260 V8 factory bench seat car. It's got a 3-speed automatic and a 280 rear end in it. So this will be pretty fun. We may change up that rear gear a little bit and definitely want to manual swap this car in the near future. But it was super great to meet Todd and his father, JR, be able to share the stories they had with this car. Here's a couple pictures of Todd when he was young with the car. But let's go ahead and really quick, first thing, pull the pressure washer out and blast this thing down and see how it comes out. Obviously, it was originally a white car and it's been painted black. And as you can see, there's some chipping and stuff. I don't know. We're probably going to leave it like it is for now. We really want to start on those mechanicals, see if we can get this thing to run. But let's give it a little bit of a cleanup really quick. Ready? Yep.
Through the roof?
Most of it, yeah. Alright, now that we get the grime washed off of her a bit, let's jump in this interior and pull everything out, see what we have there, see what kind of extra parts we have hiding around. You see taillights there and a mirror. Maybe pull this pretty old carpet out of here. Thankfully the seat only had one bolt. So we'll pop that out real quick. Not the most attractive seat. Not too sure what it came off of. We've got the mirror, 63, so that's probably correct, FOMACO. How you can tell with a lot of your Ford parts, your older Ford parts, you can date them, is you'll notice they'll have a serial tag on them or a serial number, and your year start out, I think it's, what is it? Well, so it'd be 40 starts with an A, 50 B, 60 C, 70 D, 80 E, and then from that point I'm not sure. So you look, the first and second is going to be, say you got C3 like this, and it's going to say C3, which is 63. A lot of times on a 64 you're going to have 63 parts, you know. More than likely, I'm not sure, this car may have been built in 63. So there's a couple of pieces to the steering wheel. Turn signal stop. Screwdriver. Used to be an ignition switch. Taillight lens, that one's kind of busted up. This side actually looks pretty good. Got a couple of cracks, probably wouldn't hurt to epoxy. This car was factory ordered with seatbelts, which is kind of a rare option. As far as the VIN tag went through on this car, this is originally a Glacier white car. Obviously it's a two-door hardtop Caliente, 260 V8 automatic. It's a 3-speed automatic with that 260 bench seat and a 280 rear end. So it's a highway cruiser. Probably not going to peel a tire in this thing. Not until we do something with that rear end. Obviously needs some love. Thankfully, a lot of it's surface rust. Got a little rot in that floor, a little up front there. Over here is not terrible. Like there's not terrible. Compared to another car that we put floors in, these actually look really good. Looks like at some point in time, it's all bulged out and stuff. Maybe a drive shaft came apart or something underneath this thing. But overall, not terrible. You see that original Glacier white that needs to be back on this car. Let's go ahead and jump back here in the trunk. As you can see, we've got a ratchet strap here. This hinge, apparently pretty common, I've noticed on a lot of trunks, they've been welded back up. Collects water and dirt right here and rust out where the hinge mounts. So we'll have to take the trunk off and repair that area. But overall, the trunk not terrible, a little bit of Bondo in the center. Everything this old has Bondo in it, I feel like. Well, let's go ahead and pop this off, get this up, and start cleaning out from there and see what we have in there. Alright, now that we gotten her cleaned up a little bit, we did find some trim, some of the inside trim for the doors and stuff, a few of the rear pieces, but realistically we are missing a ton of trim. So if anybody has some of this, I think it's 64, 65, maybe 63, I'm not positive, I'll have to look. Comet trim, I know some of the rear trim here is the same on like the 202s and the 404s. Obviously the rest of it's going to have to be convertible, if that was a thing, I'm not sure, or at least two-door hardtop because of the wheelbase length and everything and the differences on the doors and all. Honestly, realistically, some surface rust, some rust right here, but overall, really, I don't know if you guys can tell, but it's actually a really solid old car. Frame and everything looks super good underneath. Couple little rust holes here and there, but honestly, nothing surprising in any way, shape, or form. You guys have seen with the Porsche, nothing that we can't take care of, so shouldn't be any issue. But now, at this point, let's pop this hood, get under here, and see what we can do with that engine. I know that's what you guys came here to see. Let's make this baby run for the first time since 1989. I don't know if you can tell, it's got a fairly fresh looking motorcraft there. 2-barrel, obviously. This is a 262 barrel. And it looks pretty good shape, like it had been replaced. Let's do a couple things here to begin with. Let's pop this carburetor off because we know that automatically we're going to have to clean this, at least see what's going on there, potentially rebuild it. And that's going to be, well, what's funny is some of these aren't even tight, so let's pop it off anyways. But that has 4 7/16 nuts and just your throttle linkage hooked up to it, which is probably frozen anyways. And then I'll tape that off. We'll get our air hose out here. We'll blow everything off, pull our spark plugs, and see what they look like. Kind of get an idea of what our cylinders and everything looks like. We'll go from there. So a few little bits and pieces that have dropped down in here, but I am going to take our vacuum cleaner, and I don't think anything's any farther than here. You had the throttle plates there. You know, no mouse or anything got in here. It was basically just from what has fell through, just a little bit there. So let's take our vacuum cleaner, suck that out. I'll throw some tape on this, and then we'll get all this stuff vacuumed and then blown off. And let's go to start pulling those spark plugs. All right, vacuuming did the trick. Pretty nice and clean in there. I want to show you all really quick. Just a little bit of rust right there, but you can tell this car hadn't had a battery in it for a long time, and that battery tray and the whole pocket in here is actually really good shape, which is really cool. All right, I'm gonna go and pull our wires off. Not incredibly concerned about firing order. Everything's laid out and everything. All the cylinders are numbered. On a Ford, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Pretty straightforward, pretty easy. Obviously on a GM product, when you look at your engine, the farthest bank out towards you is where you're going to start number 1, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The Ford's laid out just a little differently, but no biggie. they're 13/16. Most of your GM cars, the reason I say GM cars, I'm a boat mechanic, as some of you know. Just about all the boat engines we work on are GM. Some of your ski boats and stuff use 351 Windsors and 302s and stuff. Most all your cruising boats use a GM base block, well, engine. Yep, you can tell that one had been loose. You can see where it has blow by. So this car was probably skipping a little bit. That plug didn't get tightened down and it was leaking compression past the plug. Burn looks pretty good though, a little sooty. No rust, nice sign. I'm gonna get a ratchet that doesn't slip because I'm busting my knuckle. This is an El Cheapo ratchet. It's kind of a nice one with its little flexy thing there for doing spark plugs. Ow, that hurt. Oh, look, some skin. A little bit of oil on it. Leaky valve cover. Pretty good looking plug though. Another pretty good looking plug. I say good looking. Now these have a lot of miles on it, it looks like. Pretty sooty, but no rust. And that's a good sign for us. And again, pretty good looking spark plug. Let's jump into that other side. Okay, you're not even going to be able to see anything here. This is the little bit more difficult side. Let me get the wires pulled off. I got our plugs pulled, laid out, then I'll show them to you. Alright, another pretty good looking set of plugs. These couple are fairly oil fouled, so this thing probably needs some valve stem seals, or did in 1989, so I can say it probably most likely needs them now. But went ahead and soaked all our cylinders down with a fogging oil just to make sure there's that upper end lubrication and to make sure if there's any kind of rust on the piston rings that everything kind of breaks free there. Gone ahead and thrown a 1/2-inch drive ratchet with a 15/16 socket on the snout bolt, and we're going to try to spin this thing over and just make sure everything feels good and free. We are still hooked up to the transmission in the back. There is no drive shaft. I do need to check fluid wherever that is. Way back in here. And hopefully this one doesn't blow all our fluid out when we crank it, but that's obviously something we may have to pop it off, shut it off really quick, and just figure out our drive shaft. But let's go ahead and spin it over and make sure everything spins over freely. Feels pretty good at this time. So let's go ahead and throw our battery in it really quick. See if this thing will turn over. We do have keys to the car. We'll see if all that works. May end up having to jump that solenoid off. But it's a start. Let's go ahead and see what we have. Alright, so before we can put a battery in, we most likely, I don't know if you can see in there, probably need a starter. That's probably a good starter to start with on this. So I'm going to go ahead and run to the auto parts store and see if we can pick one up. Alright, as you can see, we got the Comet in its little temporary home. We got it jacked up. Went and picked up the starter. Looks like it's been on the shelf since about 1920 or something, I don't know. Pretty That's a hunka. Good grief. That is Looks pre-owned, but that's always nice. Obviously this is just an original big honker. Wouldn't mind putting a high torque mini starter in it. We have some ideas and some plans in the future for the transmission and potentially motor setup in this car. So just went ahead with the old cheapy starter for now so we can throw it in there and see if this thing will turn over and hopefully run. Alright, so let's check her out under here. Of course, there's no bolts, so we'll have to track that down. Honestly, filter's been on there 150 years or two. I wonder what kind of transmission that is. Little cutie. Little cut-off manifold. You saw a little car under here. Alright, let's see if we can track down some bolts and get that starter slapped on. So it's kind of cool. They must have known that we wouldn't have any bolts. So they put it right there on the side for us. Let's go see if we can track some down. Car parts are coming. Hey, it goes in there.
When you need longer extensions, no?
Alright, now that we've got a starter in there, got it hooked up, got a hot wire. As you can see, this ground is pitiful. So I'm going to go ahead and throw a ground cable in there. This car is not exactly the prettiest wiring jobbed vehicle, so definitely gonna have to show it some attention. Let's throw a ground cable in there really quick, slap a battery in it. We've got keys. Maybe this thing will crank with a key. If not, we'll jump out the solenoid and see if it'll turn over. Wow, that's really tight on there. That was used as a negative at one point in time. See how closed off it is. Alright, so we found the slightly used pair of keys. Whoever thought brass or copper, whatever this is, was a good idea was not thinking right. Those things are so worn out, it's hilarious. Alright, let's see if we have any power, any life. The light's not on. Oh boy. Keys in the ignition. Oh, it just overheated. I don't know if you saw it, this gauge went pew! Oh, okay. Loose connection. Oh, okay, so we've got a loose connection. So we've probably got some bad connections here. I'm gonna pull our cables off, file them up clean, and see if we can get it to crank over. Oh, we're running hot again.
Yep, no compression. No plugs. It's too far.
Okay. Whatever, good enough. Alright. Got it on still. Alright, first thing let's do, let's go to look over our points and condenser and see if we can get this thing to fire. Worn out. Alright, first thing I want to check here is I'm grounding out to the battery, and I actually have the ignition switch off, but I see a jumper wire here. Let's see. Oh, well. Oh, actually, never mind, that's not a jumper wire. It just actually broke off.
That was just something holding it. That's all it is.
Jeez, this car's janky. All right, will you turn the ignition switch back on, please?
That makes me feel better.
Yeah. All right, we've got 12 volts at the coil, so that's a plus. Let's see really quick. One way you can check these is you can open up your points like so. Is the ignition switch on still?
Nope.
You turned it on, please. Oh! Okay, so we're actually good, but the points are dirty. And it's actually firing. Wow, it's a strong coil.
That's good. Means the condenser's good.
Yep, so that means, I don't know if you saw what I was doing. I wasn't trying to. I was just trying to open this up. I was just barely touching my screwdriver really quick onto the grunt from the body to that, and it was actually shooting spark through this mud daubered up coil out to the valve cover. So that's definitely a good sign. So let's go ahead really quick and try to clean our points up a little bit. Then we're gonna run to the store, the auto parts store. We'll grab some spark plugs, cap, wires, anything else, maybe a carb kit. You think we should buy a carb kit?
Of course.
All right, and a carb kit. So let's go do that. Go bad, but still. Didn't even look. All right, now what we're gonna do is our condenser is working, although it is kind of janky. Let's go ahead and swap out our points. Just take your little nut loose here, and you get your two flatheads. Pop those out of there. Stick our new ones in. Get it down there and kind of snug. Alright, and then by hand, I'm going to turn the motor over. Alright, right on the nose. I'm going to grab a decent fat card there. Sorry, fat business card. All right. Oh yeah. All right, hit it one more time. Oh jeez, that thing's wild. Firing like crazy. All right. Let's go ahead and stick our cap back on. Slide our rotor on here. And our cap doesn't look too terrible. We're going to stick it back on. Got some spark plugs we're throwing in here. Dad's gapping them out to 35 thousandths. And we'll get them stuck in, snug down, throw the cap and wires back on, and then maybe get in our carburetor really quick, see if we can get it cleaned up, throw it on, and see if we can get this sucker to fire off. Alright, so we got our cap and our wires run. Nice thing about Ford, you have your cap, it says number 1, so as long as you know your firing order, they lay the cylinders out nice. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Super easy to figure out. We've got our wires run, our new plugs in. Let's go ahead and take one of our old plugs to number 5 and see if this thing's firing, if Dad doesn't mind turning it over really quick. Alright, check that out. She's turning over. Sweet. So the only wire that we were short was our number 5 wire, and this one's actually too short. This was an extra we had laying around, so we might try some riggery or pop it off, missing one cylinder just to begin with to see if it'll run. But let's go ahead, get our carburetor cleaned up. We'll take it and put it on the bench, and then we'll slap it on here and see if we can get this thing to run. Alright, so our bench is going to be the ground right here. First thing let's do, I'm going to take and blow this thing off really good, and then let's pop the cap off of it and see how it is. You know, it's not a terribly dirty looking carburetor, so I'm wondering if it was a replacement. Maybe they're having some running issues and they put this on here to try to get it to fire off. Let's blow it off and then take it apart. You've got your 4 screws around the top here, and then you'll take your, well, take this guy off right here, which is your air cleaner lockdown, but that actually bolts through. And then most of the time you have your choke linkage, which this one does not have connected. No biggie for what we're trying to do. It's 150 degrees in South Carolina right now anyways, so we probably do not need it, especially with a good shot of laughing gas. Just kidding, there's 2 more screws, so that makes it 6 screws altogether. Now we'll attempt to take this off. Open it up. Came off clean. Alright, nice and clean. Alright, let's pop our float out of here. This just kind of clips on like that. Got some spiders and mud dauber junk in there, which is nice. It doesn't, I mean, this carburetor looks like it was brand new, or at least a fresh rebuild. So there's not really much going on in here, other than I do notice the plunger is all the way down on the accelerator pump. But while I was at the auto parts store, we picked up a new accelerator pump diaphragm, which I believe comes with different push rods. So we'll be good to go there. Let's go ahead and blow this thing out really quick. I'm going to get some carb cleaner. We'll blow through all our orifices and everything, and then we'll pull this accelerator. Alright, so we blow through our main jets here. We want to check for fuel flow right there and all over the camera. Alright. Alright, let's go ahead and pull and check our accelerator pump. Alright, got a heavy spring on there. And there's no accelerator pump in this thing. What the heck? Well, that's definitely a first. Spring was backwards and there was no diaphragm in it. There we go. Alright, we got the carb back on. Let's give it a little sniffle of carb cleaner, hit that key, and see what it does. Just give it a couple splishes, nothing too much. I'm going to kind of close that choke just so it's closed. Let's crank it off. Well, you heard it there. It runs. Don't have any oil pressure coming up on the gauges yet. So I am tempted to pull a valve cover just to check and see if we're getting any oil pressure up top. I might try to track down the sending unit and see if it's pushing some oil up. But we need to go ahead and get our fuel line hooked up, get a fuel supply coming, and then see if this thing will run on its own. It actually sounds pretty good. It's got a cut-off exhaust. One side's got a full exhaust, the other side's cut off, so it's pretty dang loud. But it sounds pretty good, no knocking or anything at this point, so I'm really excited. Alright, so we've done some messing around, got our boat fuel tank, run to our fuel line, run to our little fuel pump here, got a fuel filter, run to that carburetor, got some fittings to make it work, Went ahead and put a new solenoid on this thing. That one was a little sticky. Also got all our pulleys back on. Filled this radiator with some cooling water. Run a new line for the oil pressure gauge so we verify we've got good oil pressure on this thing. And let's go ahead and turn it over and see if this sucker will fire up and run. Okay, go ahead. Alright, hold on, that they have an idle turned way up. But hey, this thing runs. Cool. Shoot, yeah. Sounds good. It's flipping obnoxious. Alright.
Not like straight pipe.
You ready?
Yeah.
I don't know if y'all got any of these extreme orange Jawbo from Crest. I always have nasty hands working on cars and stuff. I mean, even getting gear doping on them, diesel oil. This stuff is like gritty and it smells good. Holy crap. That stuff is awesome. I hope y'all are as excited as we are to hear this thing roar to life. I mean, literally, this thing is obnoxious. I don't know if you heard, I don't know if the video will do it justice. This thing just about blows your eardrums out with it being straight piped like it is right now. But we've got it running, got to do some tuning and adjusting, obviously do some work on our cooling system, get a drive shaft in this thing, and next video, we're going to take this thing for a drive, maybe do a little burnout. Once again, don't forget about that 50K giveaway, that $500 gift card to Summit Racing, to show our appreciation for all the love and support that you guys have given us so far on this journey. And don't forget, this is what we're doing full time now, so we're going to be able to have more content, more regular for you all. That's going to wrap it up. Peace out. Catch y'all on the flip side.